The irony of this bill is that it literally blocks communication between federal law enforcement and your local law enforcement, and it sets some very, very dangerous time limits. So, for instance, if you have a criminal migrant who is arrested for suspicion of committing a heinous crime, there's a certain time frame, and if ICE cannot respond and retrieve that individual, let's say by midnight
Right.
of that day, then we can that individual, if they so choose, to release them without notification to
Yeah.
federal agents. That is incredibly problematic, especially when you pair that with our bail reform policies,
Mhm.
which have been, with cashless bail, have been
Mhm.
incredibly light. You have a repeat offender, and take a county like Sussex, for instance, where we are really is far, far northwest. And if they are, occupied dealing with other cases with other individuals and offenders, they may not make it to that, up to that destination at that time. It's
Mm.
also incredibly problematic because it's supposed to engender their claim is that it engenders trust so that those who are almost like a safe harbor, so those who might be victims and are here illegally know that they could come forward and speak without fear of them being deported, very similar to a lot of our laws that involve illegal substances and safe haven for for babies when you leave a child at a police station or something along those lines, where we're more concerned about the safety end of it. But that's not at all what this does. That's not at all what this does. This, in fact, creates nothing but havoc, and it prevents our local law enforcement who are doing the apprehension from holding them and getting those individuals out of the community. So, what we are doing is we are indeed shoving those offenders back into the community to
Right.
reoffend against the exact same community that they just violated. And where is the compassion for those who are not even United States nationals? We have women, we have children being trafficked or were trafficked under the Biden regime across the border, human trafficked across the border for all kinds of horrible reasons. Where is their protection? Where's the compassion? A wide open border and giving carte blanche and releasing catch and release. How does that protect those women and children who were trafficked into the United States, who has lax policies now for anti-immigration enforcement?
I found it appalling when they did the roll call in assembly that several examples were brought up of various criminals that came through, and the stone-faced Democrat opposition was just totally unmoved. And at one point, I wanted to say, okay, if you're not moved by the harm being done to our people, are you maybe moved the harm it's doing to the pocketbook? And because the numbers on this are staggering. We're looking at 7.3 billion in costs and services. We're looking at 1,600 per taxpayer. And, not even that seems to faze them. If you don't want to be worried about the human cost, what about the cost from your pocketbook?